we can start. There's 27 of us here, so that's a nice number.
Okay.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Zara. I'm operations manager in Allison Blockchains, which is a crypto and blockchain association based on female expertise. We're based in Zagreb, and we just had our wonderful conference, Web Details, I think a week and a half ago. So we're fresh from our conference mood, and we're so glad that you joined us all here. We're so glad that you decided to pursue this, to join the academy, to learn more about blockchain and crypto and art and NFTs and how you can maybe make your art even more cool and share it with the world. So yeah, today we have two sessions. One is a workshop and one is a lecture. The first one is by Nives Radović, and she will tell you more about the basics of cryptocurrency and blockchain. And maybe just a few technical information. You will have an exam, which you'll have plenty of time to prepare. You can ask our mentees, mentors, everything you need to know. You will get the materials afterwards. You will get the recordings of the meetings afterwards. So you don't have to worry about anything. You can always contact us. I shared the most important email addresses that you need. And keep in mind that all the sessions will be held by the same link. So everything will be on Zoom, and the link that you use today will be the same one for all the sessions. So yeah, I don't know if you have maybe any questions for the start of the session about the FLUX in general, but yeah, if you have, leave them in the comments and we will answer them later. And now I would like to give the mic to Anna so she can start the first FLUX session.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Zara, and thank you for the invitation and to be the part of this. It's really a pleasure to join this amazing team that you will meet in the during this week. As Zara has introduced me, and all the information that you need related to any of us, you can find the document before where you had an application. So just to be a bit faster, I will go straight to the topic. I guess that the basics of cryptocurrency and blockchain is looks like and seems like some kind of topic that might not be so appealing to plenty of people globally. So if you think that you are among those people who still haven't catch with the trend, or like if it seems to you that everybody around you or some people around you, some successful people around you are talking about crypto blockchain, if you hear that some people earned some significant amounts of money or whatever related to crypto and blockchain, and if it's still not so understand, I mean, if it's not something that you easily can understand, and if you feel like you need some additional explanation, that this is why we have this course, and this is why we actually can start it from the very beginning. I know that today during these 3 hours I will share plenty of information, and I know that plenty of that is not something that I don't, nobody expects you actually to memorize everything, just to understand the basics, just to understand how it all works, and just to understand why are we talking about crypto and blockchain, because it's a precondition, it's a starting point to understand how NFTs, that will be something more interesting to you, and that some of my colleagues during this course will actually explain in more details. It's actually something that is related with something that you will do in the future, and something that you will that has some kind of real connection with the artwork and the digital art. So I know that it seems like a programming thing. I know that this might seem like something that's not so common, and if you compare crypto and blockchain with anything that you knew so far, so if you compare crypto with money, if you compare blockchain with any other type of platform or database, it's actually even harder for you to understand the whole process, because this is something that is pretty new. The original idea actually emerged with the crypto in 2008. The first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, appeared in 2009. So we are still in science and in innovation and in development. 15 years is not a long time. And if somebody claims that they are that they are very so many years present in this, yes, they are, but it's still the beginning of something that will become the future of digital assets and digital artwork. So let's go to some more theory, so to say, because I would always like to start with the definition, so to say. So if somebody had asked you what is cryptocurrency, and if you ask anyone, you will get plenty of different definitions, plenty of different explanations, but we want something that is simple, something that is actually understandable, that somebody who hears about this for the first time can understand. So we just following the slides, you can see that we have some terms that might not be familiar to everyone, but let's go step by step. So if we talk about cryptocurrencies, we can say that they're some kind of essentially digital or virtual money, but they're secured by cryptography. I'm saying this because even before cryptocurrencies, so a long time ago, even decades ago, we had some sort of digital money or digital assets. It's not that new. We had even digital gold in the previous decades. But one new thing about cryptocurrencies, that's why their name comes from, is because they're secured by cryptography. So instead of being like physical currencies like dollars or euros or any kind of bills or coins that you use, or even electronic money that you use in your daily card payments or online payments and so on, cryptocurrencies exist only online. So it's not the type of money that you can have it outside of internet, outside of blockchain, outside of digital world. And something that makes them unique is that they are secured by cryptography, which means that cryptography is a programming and mathematical term. It's not something that's easy to explain. It's not something that you need to memorize. You just need to understand it in the form of something that's some kind that gives the kind of, so to say, possibility for transactions to be safe, to be private, and to be difficult to tamper with. There's a term on the slide that's named decentralization. I know that it has many meanings. And generally, you have plenty of time. You have probably heard the word that something is decentralized, whatever is not governed from one central place. But here it is very specific, because whatever you know about money, and when you, for example, think about euro or dollar or any other currency, you probably think about some kind of governance in terms of that you, for example, think of a central bank of a country that issues that currency, or some bigger system such as European Union. So it's the European Central bank that rules the euro, that governs the euro, that makes decision related to euro. It's the Federal Reserve that make decisions related to US dollar and so on. So every currency in the world existing or in the history has some kind of governance from some central place. Like anything else, any bank is centralized, any system is centralized. So whatever you do, whatever you any kind of transaction, everything is centralized. And somehow, out of nothing, we have decentralization, like a new way or new approach in the way we perceive assets. Many, especially if you have a lot of, for people actually who have a lot of knowledge and education in economy, in finance, it's even harder to understand, because they are used to one kind of system and one kind of the way of thinking and perceiving money, in a way that money is centralized, that somebody is making decisions, and that somebody is actually helping it to be that they know what's going on in any situation. So unlike traditional currencies, cryptocurrencies are not controlled by any kind of central authority. So there are no governments, there are no banks or anything. So not a single person in the world can, or any kind of organization can decide how it can work or how it can be behave on the market. So on one side we have market. You have probably heard plenty of times that some cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, such as any other coin, actually reach some value that didn't have before, or that the value changed over time and so on. But it's not made by anybody's decision. It's not somebody who is sitting somewhere by some computer or in some office who decides that blockchain, that Bitcoin, for example, today will be at this price, and in 5 years it will be at this price. So there is no strategy, there's no decision. The only idea about Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency is something that that happened before before the moment it was placed on the market. Anything after that is just the matter of supply and demand on the market. I know that these terms might be too financial or too economic, but I think that it actually helps just to get the picture of how it changed value. But we will go step by step and come to that point anyway. But there's another thing on this slide, the third word, blockchain. I guess that you have heard of it plenty of times, but I know that it might seem like something that's pretty unknown to plenty of people, even those who understand some basics of crypto or so, or something in this world related to digital assets, cannot always understand the possibilities of blockchain. The possibilities of blockchain are much, much bigger than just it's just a platform for cryptocurrencies. But we will stick to this idea of digital assets and digital money, cryptocurrencies, and then later NFTs. And after that, you will understand how actually why this technology is used. So blockchain is a technology. Actually, the technology behind it is something that's some kind of digital ledger, or something that records every single transaction that is made with the cryptocurrency. So one cool part of this digital ledger is that it's all public. When we're talking about public blockchain, but any blockchain, whenever anybody who has access to it, they can see anything that's ever been made on that blockchain. Just to imagine how it all works, imagine some database anywhere, for example, the files on your computer and so on. Somebody can have some kind of database. For example, you have plenty of your works in a digital form on your computer. But for example, if some of your associates or friends come and add something to the database, or they delete some files and so on, you may see some changes, but you cannot get all information about how it happens. For example, plenty of times, I guess plenty of you had a situation that you deleted some files from your phone, and that you cannot remember when it actually happened. For example, you take a photo of something and you delete it, and you don't know when, at what point you actually deleted your photo or any file from your device. It may happen even in a bank. For example, there are plenty of things that happen not only in banks, but in governments and so on. You have probably heard of at least one affair anywhere in the world that somebody has mixed some data or deleted something or added something afterwards and so on. And at that point, the police or some investigations were involved to see who made that change and so on. With blockchain, it's very simple. At every single second, you have information about every single change ever made by anyone at any moment in any sense. So this actually is the technology that records every single thing every single transaction, every single change that anybody has made. And that's the beauty, so to say, of blockchain. And that's why it's so vital for all the process, and that's why it's so That's why it's so important for having this type of technology, because first of all, people have a lack of trust in something that's digital, but it's blockchain that actually helps the process to be secure and to be safe and to be tamper-proof. Some popular examples that I guess at least you have heard of are Bitcoin, Ether on the network Ethereum, altcoins, which means any other coins. There are thousands of cryptocurrencies created after the first one of them, Bitcoin, was launched. Some of them don't exist anymore. Some of them lost their value to almost zero. Some of them collapsed. Some of them are at similar value as they had at their beginning, and so on. So it's the market thing. If something on the market, like anything else on the market, for example, you see the prices today, I guess that you all are, because you live in Europe, you're all witnessing some kind of inflation over the past several years. And you see how, for example, the price of some items that you are usually buying has changed over time. So there are plenty of reasons for why, for example, the price of your favorite item in a convenience store has changed. For example, some might wonder why the price of this changed, when, for example, and give some reasons. So the reasons why some price change is the combination of plenty of factors on the market. So it's somebody's willingness to pay for it, for that amount of money, the estimation that some potential buyers will pay for that much, some other conditions, some implication of other activities, and so on. But for example, if you wonder why your favorite juice or coffee costs 3 times more than it was like 4 years ago, you cannot find exact formula. Actually, you can, but it's not something that's accurate and say, okay, this is for this. I can predict the price. For example, the price of my favorite coffee, I can say how much my favorite coffee will cost in 5 years. So no matter what you saw, for example, just picture the price of the coffee and say that you cannot imagine what will be the price of your cup of coffee in 7 years, for example. In the same way, you cannot predict the price of Bitcoin, and nobody can tell you, for example, that the price of Bitcoin in 5 or 3 years will be, some say €1,000,000, some say 100,000, and so on. Those price predictions are so inaccurate, and usually behind them there's plenty of scams or some so to say not so good ideas, because nobody's in order to predict some kind of price, you have to have some kind of responsibility, and it's very unresponsible to give some long-term price prediction and to call people to invest in something when you have no tools or no means to predict something in that long term, or something that's that has plenty of factors to have an impact on. What's actually what are the key features of cryptocurrencies? Key features of cryptocurrencies here are some items that you have seen already in the previous slide, but just let's be more specific at this moment. So when we talk about decentralization, it means that there's not a single company, government, institution, or any entity that's controlling the system. So instead of it, the power that's distributed across is actually distributed across many participants. So imagine, for example, a network where everybody has some kind of equal access. So there's no difference between me and you or any third person anywhere in this type of decentralization. So it's actually the network of completely equal entities, completely equal participants. So there's no difference between nobody's governing, nobody's ruling the others. Everybody there is very, very equal, and they have equal power of decision making. The full control was given to the group, so nobody can make the system under their control or it's very much fair option than any other possible in financial system. If you compare it to any other financial system, it's something that usually financial professionals, especially bankers and stock market traders and so on, cannot perceive, and that's why all over these 15 years, financial strategies, bankers, and so on had some kind of troubles to understand how it all works. And usually, first of all, it's because it doesn't work on the means that they were used to, the way that they had some kind of expectation as exploring the financial system. They were very confused and they said, no, it cannot work. And after 15 years, we see that it can work. We see that the value of Bitcoin has multiplied so many times that it now has reached some amount that nobody, even the people who really had a trust in it at its early stage, couldn't even perceive that something that had a value of less than $1 now has a 60K or more after so many market situations and turbulences. And it had its ups and downs, but it's something that's not governed by anyone and nobody can predict a lot inside of it. I mentioned previously, blockchain technology is something that's some kind of digital ledger that you can imagine or perceive as a big public record book. So every time that some kind of transaction happens, it's being recorded. It's inside of this, so to say, book, and everyone can see that something like that happened. So to ensure the full transparency, which means that nothing is you cannot hide anything on blockchain. That's the most important thing of it. So once some kind of transaction is added, it cannot be changed or tampered with. It just has some kind of information. It holds the information that that change has been made, and it also informs you about it. Now we talk about wallet address and wallet. To understand what's wallet, and during the presentation and during this course, you will get familiar with the wallet. Wallet is something actually that, like in a physical world, wallet is for your money. Your digital wallet is for your digital assets, your digital money, and your digital, so to say, items, anything. Like later you will talk about NFTs. I guess some of you already either purchased crypto or get something, or some of you probably had some kind of some possibility to understand how it all works. But even if you hear about this for the very first time, this course, and especially today's part, will actually help you understand how wallets work. So wallet address is some place on the network where your crypto, where your digital items are stored. So in a decentralized systems, when you make a transaction, your identity is not tied to your is not so to say connected to your real name. So it's not the reason why plenty of people use crypto is the possibility to do it privately, to do it in a pseudonymously, so to say. Of course, there's always a way to find out, for example, if in some sorts of scams or any situation where you have connection with the payments, in connection with exchanging currencies for some kind of physical currency. But in crypto system, in decentralized system, whenever you're connecting wallets, you don't need and you don't have to understand or to know the names or the private or personal data of people. Just their wallet address is their, so to say, ID in this world. So it keeps things private using some pseudonymous technology, so no one knows your real identity, but the transaction is still public. So nobody might know who made some transactions unless you go further and find the identity of a person if in some kinds of investigations or crimes or whatever. But generally, if you're doing it normally, legally, and for everyday use, it's not something that has any kind of privacy breaches, and it's something that makes actually people feel safe while making crypto payments and while trading with other people, exchanging crypto with other people or with other entities from their wallet address. So it's the wallet address that actually is the key thing here. And also security, mentioned several times during this part, is actually something that is like in anything else. It's crucial for using something. You wouldn't use anything that's not secure, that's not safe, no matter which aspect of your life we are talking about. So it's since it's connected with the money, since it's connected with the value, it has even more urge to be safe and secure. So it's a cryptography, as I mentioned already, some kind of math that's used to secure information, and it makes almost impossible for someone to cheat or to commit any kind of frauds or anything like this. So it guarantees that all transactions are and the data actually remain authentic and protected from any kind of hacking or any kind of something that you wouldn't like that anybody anybody to do with your private assets or whatever. Like the way you store your physical currency or your any kind of assets is the same way that you behave with your digital assets. So the more secure the system is, the more trust people have in it, and the more possibility to use it, and the more, so to say, the better you're treated as a customer when it comes to, for example, wallets and the companies that provide these services, the better you will feel and the less headaches you will have about your crypto assets and what will happen with them. Are they well secured and so on? So let's continue with some kind of basics of cryptography. Even if these are terms that I know that might sound a bit, cannot say scary, but let's say that it's not something that you will have to know by heart in any moment when you decide to go to buy your crypto or to trade your NFTs or to have some kind of digital assets connected to your artwork or whatever. This is just to get the bigger picture of something, how it works. So encryption in general. So we have cryptography and we have encryption. I guess if you have heard about encryption previously, especially if you're using some kinds of platforms for messaging applications. Long time ago, it was the WhatsApp that did it, Telegram as well. So now you have encrypted at the bottom of your services for exchanging communication. You have you have that sort of title that says this message is encrypted or something like this. So it's not like you are it's same kind of to say encryption is something that can be widely spread as a kind of not only technology but also some kind of philosophy when the way that some processes appear. So for example, if you trade what it means, for example, when you exchange a message with somebody through your messaging applications such as Telegram or WhatsApp and so on. It means that nobody who can, for example, who can interfere in that transcription or to that messaging. For example, you are writing to your friend, but nobody who can have any information that you have sent some message to your friend or something like this can read that message. So it's only the sender and the receiver who can receive, who can understand. Even the server, even the people who develop the network, nobody can. They just give some kind of mix of numbers and letters, some code, some secret code that's some kind of ciphertext, but it's not something that they can read. So your message is readable only to you that you wrote and to your friend who reads it, and nobody in between can understand what happened in that message unless they find your device or something like this. But the providers of those services or anybody who can reach their database cannot read those messages. It's the same with encryption when it comes to crypto, when it comes to digital assets. So some might have about the information that you are trading something and so on, but they cannot have the information about what's traded and where can pick up the money, the assets and so on. Otherwise, it will be a total chaos. For example, if I send some assets to somebody else, and that person actually gets that information, they can find the wallet address and they can do. But that doesn't it's not something that's happening because it's encrypted, and it only is the information is only visible to sender and receiver. So just perceive encryption like in any encrypted other services, and it will be easier to understand. Now we have just a bit more complicated thing, so to say, public and private keys. So it may seem like we are now having like some terminology that's so complicated, and I know that it might feel to some of you particularly like this, but let's just perceive these things like public key is something that you can think of like your public key, like your email address. So you share your email address so that you can, for example, somebody wants to send you something, you share with them your email address. For example, in this case of cryptocurrency, you share your wallet address. But that person who has your wallet address doesn't know what you have inside your wallet, or so that you don't expose any sensitive information by giving, like you have somebody's phone number, but you don't read their messages. So it's that safe. So your public key is something that is publicly available information for somebody who has to send you something, or for somebody who has to have some connection with you. While private key is some kind of password, so to say. So it's actually the key that should be secretly protected, or secretly kept. So it's not some information that you give to anyone. It's not something that it's not the information that you share. So you have always these two things, public and private key. One is for the rest of the people that are supposed to send you some crypto or some NFTs or some other tradable or not tradable digital assets, and something is that you keep secretly for yourself. During this process, you will see what you should, how many things are you supposed to keep for yourself, just to make all this process secure and safe for yourself. Like in any other area or industry, plenty of security things depend on you. For example, if you think about email or some other services, but email is the best example. For example, if everybody knows, or if you have, for example, some very common like 1 2 3 4 5 6 was at, let's say, the beginnings of internet was the most common password, and almost everyone at the early stage has like you go to your internet provider, you open your account, and they by default gave you the password 1 2 3 4 5 6. It was the internet of 90s. So everybody had the same password, and everybody could enter somebody else's information, unless that person is, so to say, for that time smart enough to change their password and block the access to anybody else. Today is a bit different things. We keep our password stored in different ways. Our devices actually help us to do it safely with some applications on our mobile device, particularly. We have some double checks and so on, but it all depends on how you store that. So if everybody can have access, for example, if you write it on your notebook that you use every day, and that your, for example, colleagues or friends or robbers or whoever just have to just to list it and find that information, it's not safely stored. So you have to take care of the way you say that, like the way you store your passwords, like the way you store your pins for your cards. So some information shouldn't be written, and the more of that information you have on unsafe places, the bigger possibility is that you can lose the access to your digital assets. But I don't want to frighten anybody. I just want to warn that things are as safe as you made them safe. We have here digital signatures. Digital signatures are used to prove that some kind of transaction or message really came from you. So there shouldn't be any need to reveal any private key. I, for example, need some information, but it has to be a digital signature, like a digital signature in electronic communication in terms of the way you enter some data and the sender know it's you. So you usually do use it in communication with the bank, with institutions, and so on. So that type of digital signature, some kind of fingerprint of your digital assets, is something that ensures actually that the transaction is legitimate, that it hasn't been altered, so they don't confuse your items or your content with anybody else's, and don't make any, nobody loses anything in that process. So this keeps the system very secure, and there's no need for exposing your personal information to the person. You just give your digital signature, like a proof, like you give an ID on the bank counter, and they know it's you. They recognize it, they connect it. It's just a digital version of some kind of identity that's used there. And one thing that's not so common in everyday communication, and I'm just here mentioning for just to get a bigger picture of about how cryptocurrencies work, is hashing. So hashing is a process that ensures that the some kind of integrity of data. So it takes any piece of data, whether it can be a kind of document or a transaction or anything, any file, and converts it into a fixed length string of characters. For example, cryptocurrencies always have they're big, like that. They're how to say, rows of lines and rows of letters and the numbers, but they are all the same length. So it's very hard to so to say change anything. Of course, whenever you change something, it's visible on the blockchain, but it's very some original data that it makes after that. So, for example, if you have at least capitalization of some letter or change some kind of number, it brings you completely different items. So hashing is something that actually is creating a unique fingerprint of the data. So digital signature is gives your digital identity as a sender or receiver. So it doesn't open the question of the identity of those who should be involved in transaction, while hashing is something that actually creates a unique fingerprint of the items that should be of the data that should be traded or sent from one person or from one wallet to another. A bit more complex topic, and I know that this is not so to say the topic that's so there's plenty of information that you are meeting here today, and I know that it might seem complicated, but I will try to make it as easy to understand for this concept. So we have here, and as I previously mentioned, blockchain is the network, and plenty of people make analogy with the internet. So there might be some analogies, but usually not only I, but plenty of people who are from the blockchain do not recommend that you fully stick to its comparison with the internet, because plenty of things that are typical for internet are not so common and cannot be applied to blockchain. But anyway, like any database, it has some kind of transaction recording. So when a transaction happens, those transactions are grouped together and they're stored in a way that we call them blocks. So you see that its name, blockchain, actually sends you the information that it's some kind of chain of blocks. And we now have to find out what kind of blocks is this all about. So each block is like one kind of a page of a book. So I know that there are plenty of illustration on the internet. It's sometimes really funny when you, for example, Google blockchain photo. For example, you need some kind of illustration that I usually do. As you see today, they're not illustration because it's only confusing you. And I just want to be very, very simple without some funny drawings and the way that they picture blockchain. So those are not blocks. Like you imagine some kind of cube or some entity or some item like this. But it's called block because it gathers some unique information grouped together, like a page of a book, so to say, but not a page of a book where you, for example, read a book and that text continues on the other. So it's how to say some independent, some page of a book that per se actually represents something that could be placed anywhere else. So it's not something that's continue with and it has some kind of connection with any other, but it's a page of a book, so to say. And once that page is full of data, a new one is created. So it's like you are, for example, adding some information to that kind of block. Whenever you complete a transaction, it's the next one. It's the one that you already created. Then you create the next one that has to lean on the previous one. So there's a connection between the first one that you have created. For example, I mean, it's something that's a programming thing. So none of us is creating those blocks, but we do it by making our transactions. So while just to make things simpler and just to make this easier to understand. So it's none of us who are creating those blocks literally. We make transaction. For example, I send you several Satoshis of Bitcoin. Later, I will explain what are Satoshis about Bitcoin. So there are pieces of like the cents are parts of euro. Satoshis are the small items inside of a Bitcoin, or any other cryptocurrency might have something like this. But when I send you some items, or you send to your friend or whatever, you are not. None of us is actually being. None of us is actually dealing with creating a block. We make a transaction. The block is automatically created. So it's not the situation that we have with understanding this process. It's very easy, and crypto applications, crypto wallets, and crypto technology generally is very simple to use. So it's not, sorry. So it's very easy to use. It's user friendly, and you have just several taps on your phone or your computer to make the transaction. It's not like you have to understand. I'm just saying this to understand, for you to understand why is it called blockchain, what's one block, and how actually the chain is formed. The chain is formed when one data in the first block, the genesis block, so called, is made, and the second block has to have the information of the previous one. And no matter how many blocks are in that chain, every one holds some information from the previous one. And that's why, for example, if you want, imagine, for example, even if it's just so to say, picturesque visualization of blockchain, but imagine, for example, some cubes or blocks or books or whatever, it's easier for you to understand, and you see that you have like a 15 blocks, and you see the block 6 or block 7 that you want to do, you want some change to make there. If you make a change inside of a block, I'm just trying to explain why blockchain is so immutable. So if you want to change the data inside, for example, you just forgot one simple thing as a programmer, as a code writer, or in transaction, if you want to change something. If you change a single comma or dot or anything inside of a block 6, for example, blocks 7, 8, 9, and until the end of a chain will keep the information of that chain. So it's not only visible on the block 6; it's visible by the end of the of the chain, and that's why it makes it immutable, that's why it makes it tamper proof, and that's why it's not like some kind of book in some administrative office where, for example, you want to buy some land in some and you, for example, want some contract, and they stamp you the data. People used to do it previously before the electronic signature and so on. You can, for example, have some document, and you can give some proof that you already possess some kind of assets and so on. Banks had witnessed, worldwide banks have witnessed so many fake documents and so on over time. Now with digitalization, it was so to say minimalized, but now with the blockchain and with this transaction, it will actually destroy those processes. So whatever goes to blockchain will actually give a database that wouldn't be so easy to manipulate, and it's not something that you will every day can just hack or even go and change whatever you would like, or anybody else. That's why you have probably heard over this time, if you heard about other possibilities of the blockchain use, that blockchain should actually solve plenty of problems. Blockchain can actually solve any problem of any database that is exposed to any kind of manipulation. Blockchain can also solve some problems related to databases that are too big to be controlled by humans or to be controlled by computers that have some computing power, but that cannot do it forever and so on as the database increases. Okay, there's a thing called security through hashing. I'm just mentioning this, so it's not it's something that I already have mentioned, but just to mention that it plays a key role in securing the blockchain. So once a block is added, if anyone tries to change any kind of transaction or any hash in the entire blockchain, the hash in the entire block will change. And as I mentioned previously, it's not easy to make even a smallest change without, I cannot say destroying, but without completely messing up the information on the rest of the block. And it's actually why it's so secure and why it's so every attempt to do something is very visible. And now we come to transparency. Everybody is wondering, especially in the beginning, it was the case. People were wondering, how come something is so private, protected, secure on one hand, and very transparent on the other hand? So blockchain is transparent, and that's the beauty of blockchain, that the transparency it has, which means that all transactions are visible to everyone on the network. So it's not the private data, it's not something that you stored on the blockchain. So in case of any investigation, in case of any for example, lack of recording of something and so on, if you store it on the blockchain, you can find any information that's ever been added to blockchain. Of course, I will later come to that point. There are private and public blockchains, but whoever has the access to the network will at any moment identify when some change has been made or when some transaction has been created. So so even though some kind of transactions are public, so some transactions are public, so it doesn't mean that everybody in the world knows. For example, they cannot follow it on internet. If you send some crypto via public blockchain to somebody, to some other person, not the whole world will know about it, but it's actually something that makes more it holds privacy, but the transaction itself, the evidence of those transactions being made are public and are transparent. So it's the key characteristic of blockchain. Don't bother yourself if this all creates some kind of mess in your head. I know that there are plenty of things. Most of us were dealing with this with years and years, so it's not like something that you will completely have to memorize or to understand deeply in this 1 week course. So I know that there will be plenty of items, plenty of names and terms that you will meet today for the first time. Just to relax, because only key parts, and you will get the material, and for your exam later we will have only those information that are crucial for what you will do in the future, and for some general knowledge, not going into details unless you maybe would like to combine your artwork with programming. Then in programming you will have some other types of education. So this is not programming, this is not something that will have to this is just telling you how to use something. At this moment it may seem like something that you for example, imagine how many of you are using email every day. And I guess that you send probably dozens of email every day or every week, and it's not something that you that's not something that's hard for you to do. You just go write your email, you probably add attachment and send it to the address that's given to you. If somebody would ask you, okay, but how the emails work? Can you explain the protocols, the servers, the addresses, and so on? Vast majority of people couldn't explain how email works, even if there's almost not a single person that is in modern world that's not using email as a tool for their business or private exchange of files or whatever. So it's not in the whole discourse and whole this crypto thing and blockchain. It just to helps you how to use things, and these things are being mentioned, especially in my course that is more mainly technical, especially in comparison with the rest of the other courses that you will have that will be more practical. But this one actually will help you just to get the scheme of how this all works. So just plenty of information that's not something that will be part of your exam or part of something that you will deal with in future. So just relax. Now we came to ensuring security and integrity. It's as I mentioned before, we have private and public keys, and now here we are mentioning private key signatures. So every transaction in this system is some kind of secured using something called the private key that I've mentioned previously. So think of a private key as some kind of secret password, something that is only known, that's only known for you. So when a transaction is being made, so the sender uses that private key to create that digital signature. I know that it might create some kind of confusion because we already had private and public key, but this thing is actually something that proves that the transaction can really come from the person or from the entity that you expected, and or you are sending your transaction in that direction. It helps you ensure that no one else pretends to be that entity or that person that you are making transaction with. We now have hash link blocks. So as I mentioned, picturing our blocks in a blockchain as some chain of blocks, we know that once some kind of transaction is being completed, it gets stored in something that's called a block, and those blocks are then linked using some kind of special kind of code that's called hash. So linking those blocks those hashes that are actually linking those blocks are preventing tampering or any kind of change or alteration of transaction history, which is very useful, and you will see how actually it becomes useful over time. And one thing that we have, especially that's typical for regular money, regular physical money or general money, is the problem of double spending. So it's something that you probably heard in some, or might not if you're not so familiar with the with the accounting and so on, but it's the problem of some transactions that happened twice or some attempts to make a transaction and so on. Those are the principles of undecentralized world, so centralized world, so to say. But in decentralized world, everything is completely different. So in decentralized network, multiple computers that are called nodes work together to verify each and every transaction. So it's something that prevents problem that's called double spending, where someone might try to spend the same amount of money twice. So double spending is sometimes on papers, on the accounting, on data, in banking, in finance, is something that happens by mistake, by bad intention, by fraud, and so on. In crypto, double spending is not possible. First of all, because once you spend, and once you make a transaction, that transaction in a decentralized systems is booked so many, booked, so to say, recorded so many times that you cannot do it twice. You cannot do it another time without having assets on your wallet to transfer it again. You cannot spend the same money twice. It's logical even in physical world, but just to know that double spending is something that happens with the regular money, but it cannot happen with crypto. Okay, this is a more, so to say, interesting part, because we can talk about, actually, we can mention all these cryptocurrencies that some of you, I guess, probably heard of before. Some of them, at least. So Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first, the biggest, the most valuable, the oldest cryptocurrency. Probably you, even these days, it's very actual, the documentary by Netflix about who is Satoshi. As Satoshi Nakamoto is the pseudonym of a person who created, or a group of people, or a company, or a team, whoever, who created Bitcoin. So even the documentary didn't completely reveal who, just lets you thinking about who of those, so to say, suspects might be the creator of Bitcoin. It doesn't tell you it's exactly that person because of this and that. It leaves you guessing and wondering and probably not knowing anything extra that you haven't known before. But the thing is actually that the Bitcoin is something that opens so many, it had become a buzzword, especially in the previous decade. It became very popular to talk about it. Headlines in the newspaper were full of Bitcoin, crypto, and people, especially people who have no interest in this area, and of course, not all of us are interested in some phenomena that happen. So some of those who just use their so to say peripheral hearing to hear something that's a buzzword, and after that they don't think of it and so on, they tend to comment on things based on something that the way they connect facts and the knowledge they have. And usually they connected Bitcoins with plenty of conspiracy theories, with plenty of illogical or logical things that seem to them very logical from the history and from the mythology. Or there are plenty of, if you just Google, you can find billions of interpretations, even some astrological. Bitcoin has its birth chart and plenty of things that you can find in the internet, and everybody claims it's accurate because nobody actually can explain why this all happened. Even the people who are from the very first day in crypto cannot say why we have Bitcoin. They're just interpretation. For example, why do we have anything that we have in the world? Maybe somebody who has created that gave an explanation. For example, why do we have internet? People who created internet explained why do we have it? Why do we have TV? Why do we have anything in the world? But why do we have Bitcoin is just interpretation for each and single person that is using it, that loves it, that hates it, can say, why do we have Bitcoin in any other cryptocurrency? But let's just for the minute stick to Bitcoin, first of all, because it's the biggest, the most valuable, in the oldest cryptocurrency. So it's created, remains still popular after almost 16 years. And it's something that at the very beginning, it was completely worthless, so to say. It's something it wasn't so tradable, popular. Imagine, for example, you create some kind of digital assets, which I wish that you will do in the future, because you are now artist, and in the future you will also be digital artists. So who knows what, for example, how much, for example, your artwork will cost exposed in Bitcoin or Euro or any other digital or physical currency. But let's just imagine the thing like this. A guy or a group of guys or girls, who knows, why not, came and created Bitcoin and sent it to some email addresses. So the first receivers of Bitcoins were people who just got some information by email and so on. At that moment, it was so without any market value. And over the first several years, it had no value at all. It was like one Bitcoin was less than $1. So it wasn't tradable, it wasn't interesting, but there were enthusiasts who liked the philosophy of Bitcoin. Some of you might remember the big economic crisis of 2008. So that crisis has actually shown how plenty of interpretations are that the crisis was unfair to regular people, that some happenings before that and only made some benefits for the those who are rich, who has some billions and billions of worth real estate, who were in the bubble of investing and so on. So what was happening before 2008 was creating the big bubble of real estate, of investment, of selling overpriced assets and so on. And after the crash of Lehman Brothers Bank in 2008, everything collapsed, and the biggest crisis in the modern world has actually appeared. The Bitcoin was created and launched on the market on January 2009. So right after that, it seems like some kind of response, some fair, justified response to something that the humanity will never witness. Like it might seem like some kind of utopia, but generally, many of those who analyze the sociological or some philosophical reasons why Bitcoin exists, and it's always in the society something that's, especially because you as artists probably think of the meaning of something. So why do we have this and we don't have this, and why do we have plenty of something in a society, and what's the meaning of it, and why it's at this very moment? So why did Bitcoin actually appeared in 2009? 2008, the white paper was written, but 2009, it was his. It was actually it's so to say premiering, or its demo on the market, even if it was worthless at that moment. And why people were so stuck to that idea? Imagine, like 15 years ago, you went and gathered some digital items. Whoever plays any kind of game, and I guess that there are gamers between you as well, has some kind of habit to do something, but the feeling of gaming actually gives you some value, gives you some kind of value. You like some kind of schemes, or for example, you like some kind of items, and at least you are relaxing yourself by playing some kind of game, even if some very simple game on your mobile phone. But who was so visionary at that moment to think that something that is completely worthless at that moment will have a value over time? Only those who understood the technical and the financial concept of this kind of philosophy, so to say, and this monetary concept of Bitcoin. From my perspective, for example, as somebody who is mainly from the monetary side, from the monetary, so to say, industry, even if I came from banking originally, it's very significant. It was very surprising at the moment to see how something is called money. I mean, there are debates: is Bitcoin money, or is it something else? Does it fulfill all conditions to be called money? But generally, Bitcoin is something that has some completely opposite features of some features of regular money. So it's not like it's, first of all, it's deflatory. I know that over the past several years, even those who have no clue about economy, even the smallest children understood what inflation is, right? But I guess that everybody could now understand how Bitcoin is actually deflatory. So our money, our euros, our dollars, or any currency has lost the value over the past years. So it's not actually that some item that we are buying is become more expensive, but the value of our euros is actually lower. And now we can buy less for the money that we have. With Bitcoin, it's completely different. Bitcoin is created in a way, there are 21 million Bitcoins in the world ever issued, and nobody is printing new Bitcoins. You see what European Central Bank is doing every year by reprinting money and by making a supply of money always year after year bigger, and creating that inflation effect that has both on worth of currency worth and on prices. But now we have Bitcoin that has completely opposite. And that's why people from the financial world actually say, no, this cannot work. It will collapse in a year. So they were predicting the collapse of Bitcoin for the past, I don't know how many years. From the very first time that they have heard of it, they expect it to collapse, that it's only a fraud, and so on. And it survived 15 years. So now nobody's talking about the collapses and the crash and so on. But just to get the picture, it's secure, it's decentralized, it has all the characteristics of some kind of cryptocurrency, because it's the first cryptocurrency, and it's something that gave the basis for the rest of it. Later, after came Ethereum network and Ether as a cryptocurrency on that network. It's a bit different than, and later I will explain when we come to some technical features. Ethereum is a bit different. It's like a big kind of open platform that's building decentralized apps. So Ethereum, the network itself, unlike Bitcoin that is pretty closed and just made for Bitcoin transactions, Ethereum network opened the door for decentralized applications, or DApps, and smart contracts. Later we will come to smart contracts, but this is just something that opened the door for more than just having being the platform for cryptocurrencies and nothing else. So the Ethereum blockchain and Bitcoin blockchain have technical differences, and now they're very it's very specific. Then later we came to stable coins. As its name, I mean, if you heard anything about crypto, and if you were like if you're a risk-averse person, you dislike the idea of crypto that is very volatile and that has price change every day and so on. You know how actually the fluctuation of crypto price is frequent and how big and so on. So whatever happened over the past several years or decades, you can see that it's anything but stable. But now we have stable coins, and as its name says, while some cryptocurrencies can fluctuate with the price and it can go wild completely, stable coins are completely different. So they're tied to some stable assets such as US dollars, such as any other assets. Some of them are they're connected with gold and so on. In order to avoid that kind of volatility. So there are some stable coins such as USDC, USDT. They're mainly used to, the purpose of them is to be some kind of bridge between physical money and crypto money. So it's especially important for people who are accountants, for bankers and so on. They want to know the exact value of some digital item at every moment. So the conversion between, for example, now you have Bitcoins, I have euros. So we need to have some kind of transactions. We have to see the prices. And if, for example, I want to give you this amount of euros for that amount of Bitcoins and so on. And it's like exchanging physical money for digital currency. But if I had stable coins, any exchange by the exact price is very easier because you just do it we just do it on our device. It's very easier, and it's very easier for the accounting system to book those transactions, because once you're how to say volatile, once your assets such as Bitcoin or Ether or any other cryptocurrency are available for some kind of trading, for somebody who wants to know the exact amount of that money at the very at this very moment, they just exchange it to stable coins and make some bookkeeping or a record of that transaction at this amount. So stable coins are not, so to say, popular for traders because the value doesn't change. It's something that's fixed. It's not something that you can earn trading and so on, but are very useful and practical for people who have to deal with calculations, who have to deal with kinds of, so to say, these bookkeeping and the information about historical value of some kind of crypto. Now we also have altcoins. Alt, that stands for alternative, is there for some kind of the name for some digital currencies other than Bitcoin or even Ethereum, because they are the two biggest and the most valuable. So there are plenty of altcoins. I think that even at this moment, somebody is creating some kind of or working on some kind of cryptocurrency. The market is very saturated. There are some like those that are mentioned, such as Cardano, such as Solana, and so on, some popular Litecoin as well, some popular cryptocurrencies, or they were popular at a certain period of time in history. They have some value, they have some practical use case, they have some benefits for the people that are using it. Worldwide, you can see, for example, that for some, especially in digital communities, you have some kind of discounts or some kind of club membership, so to say, especially in programming and conferences. Usually you pay some conference tickets for some crypto or blockchain events or education or something like this with crypto. And that's actually the beauty of using those. So they have some kind of they're useful for the community that is using them. For the rest of the people, they're just tradable assets. And for example, they trade their Bitcoins for Solana, or their Bitcoins for Cardano, or vice versa, if they see that there's a benefit of price fluctuation. But there are not so many. There are not so many differences in the philosophy of those crypto. Of course, I must mention that and we must be aware of the facts that plenty of cryptocurrencies, especially the new ones that are fastly coming out to market and so on, are connected with some kind of scams and fraud that were very frequent, especially over the past several years. And that some crypto, which is actually not crypto, is promoted as some kind of digital currency that will promise you that you will earn millions in the near future. Just click here and do this and so on. So whenever you hear, that's what I would like to warn, that these things to memorize it might be like complicated and too much. But whenever you see that somebody claims that in the near future, or in 1 year, or in 5 years, some item will cost this or that much, just come to the beginning of this course and this story and just say, okay, I witnessed the increase of price of coffee over the past 3 years. How can I predict the price of coffee in the next 10 years? And just, it's a simple logic that's enough to use, and common sense to use in crypto price prediction. So whoever tells you invest in this in 1 year, it will worth this, is just either has a lack of knowledge or the lack of responsibility towards both you and themselves as a entity, or they have a mean or a bad intention behind that type of promotion, and they want to do some kind of scam or fraud. And now we go to that part. Now we come to the part called blockchain. The introduction to blockchain itself as the network. So as previously I have mentioned, the blockchain is a digital ledger to record some kinds of book where plenty of information is stored in those blocks that are linked together in a chain, and each block contains a list of transactions that are actually linked together in a chain, and that's why we have the name blockchain. So each block contains a list of some transactions, and once added to the chain, it cannot be changed. And it's the simplest philosophy of the blockchain, even if it's really complex thing, very complex thing for our perception. It's not something that the human mind can easily understand unless knowing all these details. But just as I said before, don't bother with all these details. It won't be the part of something that you will do while making a crypto transaction or something like this. So how actually blockchain works? So instead of being stored like on one place, and that's the most important part of crypto and blockchain itself. So, for example, we are now doing this course, and all the data of this course are stored at one location. And you are receiving some information sent from one certain place. Any information from that is shared like this is centralized. So I'm rotating these slides. I'm sending you some kinds of visuals and messages and so on. So I'm creating something that you have and get. So it's centralized process. If we move it, if we place it on the any kind of asset or monetary side or any database, we see, for example, anything that's governed or controlled by any entity in the financial world is highly centralized. Banks are highly centralized. Any entities related to any financial service providing are highly centralized. Any decision-making processes are highly centralized. So we always have one entity, individual, mainly entity or organization that has some kind of kind of control over something that the rest of the users are consuming, that the rest of the users can use, that the rest of the users can actually store or whatever. But what actually makes this different from blockchain is that in blockchain there is no central authority. There is no single entity that manages the system. So anyhow, the blockchain is completely free. And the blockchain is completely decentralized in a way that every single node of those blockchains, so those are computers that are in the network that are helping the network to survive, are all equal. So none of them actually contains more or less amount of money, in bigger amount of money or smaller. So everybody has equal information. Everybody has the data that is completely equal on each and every of these each of these nodes are actually completely there's not a single difference between any of them. So every time, for example, you see the some key features of blockchain, you will constantly see these three letters from the slide: DLT, or decentralized distributed ledger technology. So we have decentralization, we have DLT as characteristics of the blockchain. So as I explained what decentralization is, I've just moved to DLT shortly, even if it's not something that will be the part of what you will do with while you're making a crypto transaction. So every participant in this kind of network has their own copy of the entire blockchain. So every of these nodes actually see on their computers and have track records and the same as those on the rest of the computers. So each participant is completely equal to the rest of as many of them that might exist in the world. So this is actually something that might ensure accuracy and the trust between users. There's one very important point when we talk about the blockchain. I mentioned just a bit earlier, and it's immutability. So immutability means that once a block is added to the chain, it cannot be changed or tampered with. And this is something that makes the system highly secure. And this is something that helps prevent any kind of fraud. And as mentioned before, we have transparency like a characteristic. So all transactions on the blockchain are visible to everyone in the network. And that's something that creates trust. So when thinking about blockchain as this chain of block, as its name says, think of decentralization. Think of this distributed ledger technology where all nodes are equal. Think of immutability or the impossibility to change anything, and think of transparency of data. So these four things are the core characteristics and key features of blockchain. So I repeated them here as well, so just to make it more clear. But since I have mentioned some things even during the explanation of previous slides, just to memorize this, I mean, just to have it in your mind as a key four key characteristics of blockchain that will give you the idea how all this process works. And actually, these are characteristics of nothing else in the world but blockchain. So nothing else in any system. So if you compare it with a bank, if you compare it with a stock market or anything that humans have ever created, none of them contains all these characteristics. And that's why blockchain is so specific. That's why it's completely different from anything else. And that's why it's so complicated, especially for financial professionals to switch their minds and start thinking this way. Blockchain is not just one blockchain. So it's not just like one single platform that could be used anyhow, anywhere. With it's something that's evolved. It's something that was made in plenty of varieties, so to say. So it's not something that, especially over the past years, it evolved in something that is better for particular situations and for some, so to say, products and items and services that are provided through that blockchain. So we now have public blockchains that we usually think of when we talk about cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Ether. So those public blockchains are open to everyone. So everyone can join, everyone can participate and view the entire transaction history on the part of the blockchain that they are perceiving. So they are known for high transparency and security because all transactions are verified by networks of users, and also this the characteristics of this are that high transparency and security. But there's one thing, as you see on the slide, the openness can lead to some slower transactions, actually the lower speed of transactions, as some of the nodes are actually need to reach the consensus of the transaction. It was very typical at the beginning, especially a long time ago, so to say long time ago, let's say a decade ago, when you were trying to send some Bitcoin to for example, imagine those early adopters and those who were trying to attract some customers. For example, you have a cafe and you say that if you come, you can pay in Bitcoin here. And then you come, you have your coffee, and you are paying that coffee, I cannot say eternity, but it takes time. So the transactions were very slow. Now the situation is different because the network is a bit more complex, and the situation with the network is not that slow. But generally, any public blockchain actually has that. They're always slower than other blockchains, and that's the key characteristic in these terms, because they are open and they have plenty of information stored on them. Private, and also they need the consensus, and later we'll come to that. Private blockchains are those who are controlled by a single organization. So even it's hard to connect it with the decentralization. And I know that it's like, okay, now so far we talked about decentralization and now we have private blockchain, but it's just the blockchain that they control in terms of what should be on that blockchain, and some of those parts are actually that are the subject of control. So private blockchains are controlled by a single organization, and that means that certain individuals or entities can have an access and participate in the network. So the structure of private blockchain allows faster transactions and greater control over the data and processes. But what's actually the so to say shortcoming here is that they're less decentralized in terms that they are managed by one entity. Of course, they keep the structure of a blockchain, they keep the philosophy of a blockchain in decentralization, but the users of those solutions, especially those who are willing to join to all the who actually join to this industry because it's decentralized, always comment that this is not decentralized, this is not the real blockchain, and so on. In the programming circles and societies and conferences and so on, you will constantly hear how some private blockchains are ruining the philosophy of the openness, decentralization, and so on. But there are more some technical things and so on, so don't bother yourself with that. This is just for you to understand why these that there's a difference, and these private blockchains have more efficiency, more speed, but on the other hand, more control, because it's like one company that creates their own blockchain for some purpose, for the purpose of the services that they will provide in the future. So that's the whole idea. And we have consortium blockchains, so those fall somewhere in between private and public. Like anything, there's a third category. It always have some kind of characteristics of the two completely different things. So they are semi-decentralized, so to say, and they have, which actually means that they are governed by a group of organizations rather than just one. So it's not one company, it's the group of entities that are actually using this consortium blockchain. So this setup allows for higher efficiency, more collaboration among multiple parties, and so on. During all these parts I have mentioned one
Sorry,
thing.
Anna.
Yes.
Sorry, I will have to stop you now. I would suggest maybe a 15-minute break.
Okay, I'm not
If
even watching
everybody...
I'm not even seeing, okay, it's time for break. Yes, it would be good because we are already almost in the half of, okay, is 10 minutes okay, or 15? How much when should we, quarter to 6 to continue?
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's okay. 12 minutes.
Okay, 12
Sounds
minutes.
good.
So at quarter to 6, we will continue. We have plenty of information, but the hardest part has already been, the hardest step has been made. So we will continue in quarter to 6. Thank you.
Great. See you. Also, for those of you who haven't joined the Telegram group, I suggest you scan the QR code in the chat because all the latest updates are in the group.
Okay, it's time to continue. Hope you had a good break, and now I will just go a bit faster. And this because as I said, the first part during the first part I have mentioned all significant. Sorry, just I have mentioned all the significant information that are crucial for understanding both crypto and blockchain as such, as two new concepts for plenty of people that just hearing it as some kind of buzzword. And now I'll just briefly mention what blockchain consensus mechanisms are, because in the following in the next time and during your when you meet the digital, actually when you meet your how the possibilities for creating digital content on some platforms, you will hear these terms, just not to be confused. It's not something that you will use in that way, just to be aware of some kind of facts and some kinds of options that exist in this world. So blockchain consensus mechanisms are essential protocols that are used in blockchain networks to ensure that all participants agree, so to say, in the validity of transactions, and they play a crucial role in maintaining data integrity and security within the systems. You will mainly hear about these two types of blockchain consensus. So they are proof of work and proof of stake. So proof of work and proof of stake are two most common, two most important, and two some kinds of buzzwords that everybody in the crypto world is mentioning, just to give the clue what these two are. So proof of work is one of the most widely used the consensus mechanisms in blockchain technology, that is mostly famous for its so to say it's famously employed by Bitcoin. So the blockchain, the Bitcoin was created with this type of consensus mechanism, which means that it's still the biggest and the largest one in the crypto in the whole crypto market. One thing is actually that in proof of work systems, you have probably heard about the thing called cryptocurrency mining. And mining is the process where crypto miners are actually completing to solve some the miners. I mean, I think of I talk about the devices for mining. They compete to solve some complex cryptographic puzzles, and when a miner successfully actually solves those puzzles, they get the right to add a new block of transactions to the blockchain. So transaction is created when all the nodes on the miners have actually solved that kind of puzzle, so to say. So just to understand, this is something that when you think of mining is when we talk about mining, Bitcoin mining is something that is connected to proof of work, and that type of mining is being performed by using miners. So those are devices connected to the network of computers, and they do those operations, mathematical operations that are required for adding a transaction to blockchain. The advantage, as you see, of these proof of work is a consensus mechanism is that the proof of work is very secure and safe in terms of it's something that's like mathematically very secured and encrypted and so on. The biggest disadvantage that you have probably heard of is that environmental impact of proof of work, and the Bitcoin also, is that it has a high energy consumption. So in order to mine Bitcoin, you have probably heard of it, you need a lot of electricity or some other source of power but generally electricity is used, even if it's like a regular supply, or some solar panels are put it somewhere in some field and so on. But it's the energy consumption that's the disadvantage. And sometimes you can hear that some climate advocates actually criticize Bitcoin and the crypto community for being high energy consumers. On the other hand, and it's also slow, because you cannot make sure that whole process actually works on time when you have plenty of miners and electricity in that formula. Another thing here is that we have proof of stake. That is like kind of opposite of proof of work. Proof of stake is an alternative consensus mechanism used by some blockchain networks. Now it's included in Ethereum. So Ethereum previously used proof of work. 2 years ago, 3 years, that time, it switched from proof of work to proof of stake, and it's now more green, so to say. So all these, not only Ethereum Ether is a cryptocurrency of Ethereum, but also smart contracts and everything is on that network. So that's why it was vital for crypto community and blockchain community to move Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake. And to be in these systems, the validators are chosen to create new blocks and confirm transactions based on the amount of cryptocurrency they hold and are willing to stake. That's why it's called proof of stake, or lock up as the collateral. So it's just a more greener, it's more energy efficient and more faster, but as plenty of critiques actually say, it actually leads to centralization, because whenever you can make a decision to switch from proof of work to proof of stake, it means that you can also make some other decision, and that's what those who adopt crypto philosophy actually dislike originally. So there are some other consensus mechanisms, such as delegated proof of stake, proof of authority, Byzantine fault tolerance, and so on. But they are not so common and not so relevant for ordinary crypto usage and so on. Just to get the picture that it's not about only about these two ones. When we talk about blockchain's impact on artists, which is the most interesting part of this, we see that we today see the rise of one industry that is not so, that plenty of people are not so familiar with. And we say that there's a rise of blockchain technology across a variety of industries, and it's also normal that even artwork and digital creativity is not something that's outside of all of this. So when it comes to empowering artists, which is really important, blockchain technology has opened plenty of new possibilities. It gives more control over art for artists for their work. That allows them to prove ownership and authenticity. And this can also lead to generate some financial some funds for better financial independence. Also some possibility for artists to sell their digital artwork directly to consumers without the need for intermediaries like galleries and agents and so on. Plenty of digital artists who had especially hard times with the entities such as publishers, galleries, intermediaries, agents, and so on. Now see this as a tool as a possibility to be directly exposed to the market, not to depend on somebody's fee or somebody's contract and so on, to showcase what they have directly on the network, and to find not only the buyers. Of course, they're important, but also the buyers that will share share the interest for the specific type of art that will pay with the specific types of funds, such as crypto. So as I mentioned this, and just won't repeat this, because we know that what blockchain is, and now we have the idea of ownership of the digital age. So this is something that we can discuss with talk when we talk about NFTs. That you see on this slide, but the idea of ownership and copyright in digital age is something that that become like, is anything on the internet? Is it do we still whenever we place something on the internet, do we actually have a control of who owns it? One very specific thing that with blockchain, you can completely control the ownership of the digital assets that you have, even if it's any kind of digital assets, because of smart contracts and so on, that we will discuss later when we will talk about all these features of this type of technology. But when you see how actually there's a huge challenge for artists, and we see that in some kind of maintaining some kind of control over this digital artwork, blockchain is not, cannot say perfect, but really good tool to have a track of transactions of your artwork, to have some information about it, and so on. You have probably at least heard, if not already created, what are non-fungible tokens or NFTs. In the previous era, so to say, of NFTs that occurred at the beginning of this decade, NFTs were very popular, and many people actually use them just as a tool for making fast money, because the price is growing rapidly, especially during 2021, almost on a daily basis. There were people who have earned, especially very young people who were just doing nothing but trading. They were very concentrated on NFT trading, and they earned apartments, cars, and that amounts of money in a very short period of time. So they were really like rare examples of those people, those young people. But in media, in society, there was like a feeling that everybody who is trading NFTs can buy like a Lamborghini or some kind of luxury penthouse or something like this, because those people were very viral and so on. So they had that they created the image of NFT traders like people who triple their money every second. And it's, of course, it's not only not logical, but also it's not so it's completely pointless to think of it in that way. Also, some NFTs were used as some kind of I can say club membership, like you had that famous club of Bored Apes and so on. But that's not only giving you the information, the information that you have. It actually is not just the current market value of those NFTs, but also some possibilities for you as the owner to enter some events, to go to some places, to use some services and so on. So anything can be stored in and any information that's stored in the NFT is something that was relevant for the communities they were inside. There's some benefits of NFTs, and some for artists, of course, and some first of all, they offer some unchangeable proof of the original creator. That's the very important way how to protect your intellectual property, your copyright, and so on. So making the verification cleaner. And the other one is that the possibility of direct monetization, so that artists can sell their work directly to directly without any intermediaries, and they can show it to those who are really willing to buy. Just not to get the impression that even some artists were also among those who were so viral and whose life stories and business stories, so to say, were so present in media, like they created some small picture in the series of picture, and they have earned millions in just several days, just because somebody liked what they did and they saw the value. So those are really, really rare examples. That market era, that NFT market era is actually behind us. We now use NFTs for some more practical purposes, but we now see that the people still believe that one day NFT market will be live as it used to be 3 years ago, and that people will earn millions again just by trading some images, which is not the case. Nor they were not trading the images, they were trading the data, the tokens that they were incorporated in those files. Eliminating in the intermediaries is actually the key reason why would artists like to be the part of this story, so to say. So whoever works with any kind of intermediaries understands why intermediaries are mainly expensive, why they don't actually why they sometimes they take movements that actually brings them some kind of fee or some income, but they leave the artist without fulfilling their direct goals and so on. So sometimes artists want more independency and so on, but they want more control over pricing, they want higher revenue share and so on. So by eliminating intermediaries, some portion of the revenue will be bigger for creators of the artwork and lower for the rest of those who are included in the process, which means that if you do it directly, only something that you pay for the network, such as the use of the software or system or application, is the only cost that you actually have. I mean, you're including gas fee and so on, but any sales, any revenue is actually something that belongs to you as the artist, not to any kind of representative of what you do, or manager, or any label gallery or publisher. Of course, in theory, this really looks like something. Okay, now I will create my NFT collection and I will start earning. Things don't happen like this, especially not in a market that is. Even if it's a good market for crypto, it's a bull market for crypto, or we see some kind of price stability. It's a bear market for NFTs without some kind of realistic expectation that it will awaken very soon. So just be cautious with that. And whoever tells you, once again, whoever might tell you that earning from NFTs will happen in few, even some galleries and even some multimedia publishers tend to do it recently, because they saw how people reacted in 2021, and now they see that they want this to be repeated, and now they create some project where they take some kind of they hire artists and they use their energy, their talent and so on to create something that will have no value. They fulfill their goal because they organize some either event or activity, but the artists actually are not compensated with something that they were supposed to be at the end of the process. They just they just leave waiting for NFTs to wake up. That might not ever happen. So when we're talking about creating digital scarcity with NFTs, it's actually the key thing, that anything that is scarce on the market is actually crucial for increasing its value. So in the artwork, it's very obvious, unlike probably people don't know how much gold is on the market, people don't know how much euros are on the market. I mean, something that but they know that there's only one Mona Lisa in the world, that they know that there's only one item, that the artist cannot create it once again, and the value of it is because of its scarcity, because of its uniqueness. And that's actually something that's so typical for that type of artwork. The same is applied to these digital items such as NFTs. So NFTs are actually the digital files that they introduce digital scarcity. So any file that can be sent by email. For example, you will get some kind of material for this course that we as lecturers have created. For example, I have created that on my laptop. That's one file. But when it distributes, when the course organizer distributes some material to all of you, those will have dozens of files and so on. So it's not like the original. Like I have created that file, but it's now present on all of your computers, and it's not something that you can call unique file. When I create NFT, I cannot send it to you by email, nor if you have that NFT, it's not the same one that I have. It's not it's like non-fungible, and that's, as its word said, it's not like some other. If I trade that one with you, if I trade the same NFT with you, they're actually two different items. It's not the same like if I trade one Bitcoin with you, and it really doesn't matter is it this or one, or if I exchange with you €1 or $1, it's really not another thing if you give me one 10 euro bill or I give you another, if it has the really same value and it really doesn't matter to anyone who receives it later. But then NFTs are completely different. They introduce this idea of scarcity, and unlike some regular digital files, the only specific NFTs represent some true ownership of a piece of an art, even if the image is widely shared. So the image of NFTs we can see anywhere in the internet, but the real file with all digital rights it has behind is something that only a unique owner might have. So I cannot multiply any NFT just by sending them. If I send you the image, it's just the JPG or some other file, it's not the NFT. The NFT has a database of has some actually information, have some data stored in it, and it's unique, and it has much more than just the visual image that you can see on the internet and think okay, why would I need this? So for example, Bored Ape Club were not people who were just showing the pictures of those monkeys that you were seeing all over the internet. They had the possibility through their wallets to read what's scripted in the tokens that they were sharing. So it's not like something that okay, I have the image, okay, you can come to this yacht, you can come to this party. Things don't go that way. The data stored in the token of NFTs were those who gave the privilege and the rights of some users of what the content of those NFTs. Also, there's a transparent royalty systems, one term that we will introduce during this course, and that you will hear after this many times. I know that some of you at least have met with this smart contract concept, but it's the blockchain technology that actually introduces smart contracts that automate and ensure transparent royalty distribution, and these contracts automatically execute some kind of payments based on some predefined conditions, and they're allowing artists to receive their royalties fairly and promptly. So benefits for artists in these terms are transparency and fair payment. So artists can easily track their usage, sales, and revenue through some public ledger, and they can ensure that they have visibility into their earnings. And when it comes to some, so to say, fair payments, we are eliminating intermediaries so that artists can actually get compensated directly, which reduces any bad intention, risk, errors, delays, or whatever. So those are some principles that when we're talking about smart contracts, we talk about something that especially people from the legal sector who perceive it as a contract, just digital. No, smart contracts are actually codes, and smart contracts are what's written as a code in something that gives you privilege or something that gives you the possibility to have something as some kind of digital asset or some digital that has some kind of digital value that holds all the rights and privileges that you get with that according to that smart contract. But they are not some, just don't picture smart contracts as some documents where everything is written like on a paper, just in a digital form, that are self-executed just because it's written in the body of a contract. It's written in the code. What artists actually achieve with the NFTs and this type of digital artwork on the blockchain is this global reach and fan engagement. There are plenty of opportunities for engaging international audience, plenty of not only fine artists and visual artists, but plenty of people from showbiz, plenty of people from other industries have actually connected some artwork with something that they had with so to say, some meaning given through some digital artwork and their cooperation and so on. So the way some digital artists will use their possibility to create something not only now creates like nobody actually, I cannot say that nobody cares about the how beautiful or how meaningful are the images that they're showing on those NFTs, but they want some context, they want some meaning. Probably you have seen these days some charity or some exhibitions of digital artwork that you, for example, have some kind of either donation or support or something like this, with the possibility that you have that NFT. That's actually just an, I mean, if in from artistic perspective or from visual perspective, it's something, it's an image that you can have or put it on your screensaver or print it. So you don't need that just for the image. You can have it beside, I mean, never, regardless any copyright and so on, or on your private collection, you can have it on your phone or on your computer or on your wall. So you just print it and have it. So it's not what NFT or this type of artwork gives you. It gives you the possibility to be the member of some kind of community, to engage some international audience who see some different value in it. So it's not just like, okay, they will buy my picture. Okay, nobody is buying just a picture on the internet. Everybody can download picture. It's simple and it's very clear to anyone today. They're buying actually some experience that they get with the story that you are telling, or with something that you promote, some idea that you promote in multimedia and so on, in these terms. So plenty of artists, especially those who come from the traditional artwork sector, if we can say, but even our artists, art actually doesn't know the time per se. Actually, they complain how it becomes the times are getting harder for themselves. First of all, because they have to be not only more creative, but for example, if you're a visual artist, like a photographer or a fine art painter, or like if you're doing a design or something like this, but it's the skill that you developed over years or decades. And it's not something, for example, if you wanted to include music or if you wanted to include programming, you would go and educate yourself in those areas. Many artists actually complain how it becomes not on, okay, you will always find some partnering, either company or entity or individual, to do something together. But if you lack some skills, you lack the possibility to foresee what you can do with that creativity. That's why only people who are constantly surrounded by people from different areas can actually join their forces to create something like this. And no matter how this makes easier for artists to get, now you have internet, now you have blockchain, now you have NFTs, it looks like the possibilities are endless, which is not the case, because the global markets of billions of people actually are looking for something new, something that they cannot just download from the internet for free. And it's like a competition. Even if you do some amazing artwork, might be really hard because yes, you have global access, you can reach any individual in the world through networks, through platforms and so on. But it really just that wow effect is something that you have to create in order to succeed in that highly competitive industry or highly competitive market, even for the artworks. So some artists give up because they see, okay, it's too hard for me to compete with billions of people who have a multidisciplinary approach and who involve several techniques and so on. And sometimes you see some very, very simple art those artists who just succeed quickly and silently, but gain attention because they were specific and so on. So there's no rule. It's all about the moment. It's all about the way you engage your funds through tokenization, and it's all about how you actually match the particular moment to go to the right point and be at the right place in the right time, which is always the key thing in business. So unfortunately, I know that some artists don't like calling this a business, and that they like even have troubles with saying something about about the artwork market and so on. But this is mainly and more connected with business, with market and trade, rather than just artwork and creating new value and so on. The moment you succeed in creating real value in either of these, either on market side or in some really meaningful artistic values, is the moment that you will also succeed in creating something that's relevant for the other parts. Even if you are too creative, then you will get some funds, or if you are very talented for business, then you will have a successful story on the visual arts market in these terms on the blockchain. But these things usually are mixed, and it's always right moment for one and not for both of things. So don't be discouraged. Just be prepared that the competition is really big, and that even the biggest creativity at certain moment is not something that's the only thing that's required. That's why we are having this comprehensive course, to see things from all the angles, and just to see where you can benefit from it, taking all the information that you will hear these days. We come to crypto wallets, and this is the most important things, because it's the place where not only you will store your cryptocurrencies, but it's also the place that you will store your digital art. And crypto wallets are those tools that you are used to manage your blockchain assets. So those tools on your crypto wallets is in the form of application of mobile app, so to say. They can have different types of different forms, but also not all of them can be in each of them is actually not only for your digital assets such as crypto, but also for exchanging the digital artwork that you are sharing with the rest of the people, with your audience, with your fans, or with just showcasing what you're doing, so that the real meaning and the real value and the real token is in a crypto wallet. So they're used for buying, holding, and trading crypto. So like any wallet, like any place where you can store some kind of value. I will use the example of MetaMask. That is really beginner friendly, and it's something that majority of artists actually prefer to use when it comes to first installation of a wallet. So I'm not sure how many of you so far have used wallets. I guess some of you were intrigued to let's say experiment something with where with the crypto or with NFTs during the boom over the past years. But I guess that MetaMask is the easiest way to enter this world. Of course, there are plenty of other wallets and plenty of possibilities to do it in a different way that open more opportunities for trading, especially for exchange that are more user-friendly and so on. But we will just start today with MetaMask. So as I told, the digital wallet is here to store, to send, and to receive cryptocurrency. And some we will use private keys that will access blockchain assets. And those crypto, for those crypto that are stored on the blockchain, it's the wallet that is the key. So there are two. Also, I will also mention that there are two main types of wallets. You have hot wallets like MetaMask, and those wallets that are dynamic, that are easy accessible, and so on. And you have cold wallets like those who are not connected to the internet. So those just see on this slide. So it's easier to manage your hot wallets. Like you are always online. Your hot wallet like MetaMask is connected to the internet. At any second, at any moment, you can have access to your crypto. And well, like anything that's on the internet, it's not the wallet itself, but it's actually the way that you use your wallet. It exposes you to anything that's privacy breach or some undesired activity, so to say. So if you want anything to be protected, you keep it out of the internet. So cold wallets are offline wallets. They are hardware wallets, like you've probably seen, it looks like the USB stick for most of them. And it's even on paper. So for example, you have written the code where you can scan and you can have some kind of record in a written form, but it's not online and nobody can have access to it. Your only task is to keep it somewhere where the rest of the people don't have reach to that point, and they're secure unless somebody gets physical access to it. But it's a bit not that practical. For example, you are looking at things to buy online or to pay some tickets for some concert or some crypto conference or whatever, and now you have to do the whole process to make your to connect it to your online world and add it to some virtual place. But anyway, depending on who prefers what, some people prefer to have everything accessible, which means that they have like a more discipline of keeping their data safe outside of the views and outside of everybody's but their own memory. And there's also people who want everything to be like people who like cards or cash, depends on what's more convenient for them and what they think is more safe for them, and just a matter of habit. So why choose MetaMask is the question why some people might ask, because it's not like I'm promoting MetaMask. I'm not even, after many years of usage, I've actually seen many better examples, but are not that easy to we all have MetaMask, so to say. Like MetaMask is something that you start with today. Previously, it wasn't that easy. Now, when I see how today MetaMask is easy to use, I'm just wondering, okay, why didn't we have something like MetaMask in the past? So the whole idea of blockchain and the crypto would be easier to understand for people who were willing to buy it and so on. Imagine, for example, the crypto or Bitcoin that was, let's say, in hundreds of dollars at that time, that you can want to buy it, the whole Bitcoin, but it takes like hours to set up things and to install your wallet, to adjust your device and so on. With MetaMask, it's very easy, and that's why we'll do it today with the installation. So I will showcase you the installation. So it integrates with the decentralized application. It supports Ethereum and ERC20 tokens, which are really relevant for what we are talking today. And they have like that multi-chain support, such as Binance Smart Chain and some similar options for those who want to withdraw assets and so on. So MetaMask as an application is free. You can find it in any Play Store like iOS or Android. You can easily download it from your phone. It's also available as a browser extension for Chrome, Brave, Firefox Edge. So you just download it and have it on your device. And it has some very, very easy steps to install it. It has some, it has just have to open the starting screen and to see what's actually the just follow the steps like you are opening like a new Twitter or Facebook account or Instagram or whatever. Just follow the steps, go step by step, click on what's recommended, and just follow the rules, so to say. So you just agree to the terms and conditions. That's also, of course, something that we do whenever we do something that's new that we are adding to our device, that we share our data with. Set a strong password that is highly recommended. So don't enter any birthdays, names of your pets, children, relatives, and so on. Anything that a person who might know anything about you might connect with you and have some privacy breach. Make sure that it has some kind of security, and secure your wallet with secret recovery phrase that I will show you later. So it might not be on this wider screen, might not be that clear, but when you enter MetaMask, you will just see, like any account that you open, in this middle screen, you might see how actually those 12 words that are the key, those 12 words that are the key phrase that MetaMask wouldn't allow you to make a screenshot of this screen, because I mean you can do it, but technically it's not that safe. It's always better to have a physical pen and paper to write that phrase. So those are 12 words that are here on the screen, but that will later be repeated in a different order. And that you will be asked in case of any issue with your wallet, or in the case of lost access or whatever might be some kind of trouble even if you lose your device or any type of access and so on. These 12 words will actually give you the possibility to regain access to your MetaMask wallet and your assets. Of course, many others, I think almost all wallets use the same, especially those who are very popular and considered safe. They use this 12, it's a kind of crypto standard. So you just write down these 12 words in and the order of which is given to you later. They want you to repeat. So you just pull these words in a way that you would like to be stored, and then later just repeat the process, and that's it. So write down your words, keep it somewhere safely. Don't put it on a piece of paper that will be lost with your invoices, bills, and so on, but keep it somewhere safe. Don't put it on your notebook where you write your everyday things, meetings, like a diary, something that you use every day for storing some notes and information, but somewhere where nobody can have access to it, especially not the people who can use it and misuse it and make a harm to you in terms of actually stealing your assets. So I explained what the secret recovery phrase is, and it's actually something that you will use in the future while using MetaMask. So how to add funds to your wallet? So when I say buy crypto, people tend, especially in the previous years, when it all becomes very viral and popular, and the price of Bitcoin at that time was, let's say, also almost 60 something thousand euros or dollars at that moment, doesn't matter. And when somebody say, okay, then buy Bitcoin, people were, okay, how can I buy Bitcoin like with my salary and so on? So you can always buy a portion of it. It's not the whole unit that you are buying, so don't just be afraid of or concerned about the prices. It's actually the smart portion that you are buying. So buy crypto, any type of crypto, any amount of crypto for any smallest amount, just to keep, just to learn how the process works. So use your payment card, your or bank transfer, but the payment card that you securely store on your application is highly recommended. And at that moment, when you have your first purchase, you have some time that that's required for how to say to confirmation of the transactions. You usually use some of the popular tools inside of the application, such as those services that are integrated. Sometimes the application that your wallet is actually allowing you to choose, sometimes not, depending on the wallet. MetaMask is very user-friendly, so you won't get lost in this process. And after you make a purchase, you will get some information via email, also in the notification, and you will know that the transaction has been made. So you start the transaction, you don't immediately receive that. There's some security checks and so on. Sometimes you will be asked to show your ID to connect your banking data and so on, because the providers of those services really want to make sure the KYC process, or the process that they actually know that it's the right person using somebody's bank card and data and so on. So in these terms, payment is very easy. You will have your crypto in minutes just after the check is being made, and you get the information that you have received your crypto, and from that moment it's stored on your wallets. It's stored on your wallet, and it's there, and it's very very easy to use. So if you want to transfer from another wallet, you can, if you're using this if you're using some other wallet previously, and if you want to add to your MetaMask, you can also do the exchange between your own wallets, and you can also just copy the wallet address. The wallet address is always the one that starts with 0x to receive funds. So steps are pretty simple. Now on slides and on the previous screen that I have shown you, it's just the opening. You will see when you open your own account, because it will be your private thing. After that, you will see how actually easy the process it is. You didn't have a course or any particular instruction to use either Pinterest or Facebook or any other social network, LinkedIn, whatever. So you just follow the comments and click on what you want to select. So if you have open Gmail and you want to add a signature and so on, you just go and follow the instructions, click save and so on. So it's almost the same with this, it's just connected with some funds, and it creates like a kind of impression that it's complicated and something. The first part of the course might be a bit full of so to say, some new terms and so on, and it could seem complicated. But when you go to these steps, and when you come and install your wallet application and start using it, you will see how actually it's all a piece of cake, and how all this I'm talking today just to give you the bigger picture, just to know why this is so different from any monetary or financial concept that the humanity has known so far. So making a transaction, send a crypto, receive crypto, swap tokens. So there are plenty of options that you will choose while you will be trading on your MetaMask or probably some other preferable wallet, depending on what you will choose in the future. You just choose what you actually what fits you the most. And usually people tend to choose the wallets and applications, the applications that are connected with something that they do. So of course, you can have multiple wallets. You can have MetaMask, you can have Trust, you can have some other wallets that usually parts of ecosystems. So it's always, if you have two or more wallets, you usually connect the one with the platform that you are working. So plenty of people who work in the digital artwork industry, in the visual arts, over the past years particularly, use the wallets that are connected to particular platforms. So you will always get the information which platform to use, which wallet to use, and so on, that just to make the access easier, just to make transactions faster and more connected in the ecosystem or the community. But it's very simple. Just follow the steps written on your screen, and you won't have any trouble with using it. Just the key thing is actually to keep your secret data, your passwords, your keys, and your 12 words out of sights of the rest of the people. Generally, when we talk about digital assets per se, we need to understand actually what digital assets are. People think that generally digital assets is everything that's on the internet, which is not the case. Those are some kind of valuable items that exist in digital forms. So today, I have mentioned many times, and I guess that you are already familiar with the term NFTs. And if you are not, this is the process that you will start thinking of it, creating it. So there are two main types of digital assets here that we will talk about, and that will go to your or anybody else's wallets. Those are cryptocurrencies and NFTs. So the importance of understanding this is in understanding it in terms of that you make it secure and making manageable for your investments. So make it, for example, something that is that you see that you are creating or collecting something that's valuable. Today, people have wallets full of completely worthless assets collected over the past several years that they don't have even 1 cent value. So you cannot do anything with them. People just have some kind of collections that either they missed to use over the past year, or they were so pointless, they were just a hype of creating them, and that's why how ended up in their wallets. But today, just focus you after seeing all this trend that actually passed, that ended over the past several years. So you can see that there's a way to think what you actually should collect, what you actually should store on your wallet, and what you actually create for future usages or for future cooperation with some entities that might hire you as the artist to create some visual appealing things, but not to be so so to say visible, to be more visible, but not to create another growth of value. So just choose wisely, and make sure you not respond to any invitation from some crypto people, from some companies that are the best in the world. They always present themselves as the leaders on the blockchain market and so on. It's really hard to check their portfolios, because they're usually not decentralized in terms of blockchain decentralization, but they have some headquarters in several countries and so on. So they sometimes present you some similar entity that they cooperated with and so on. There plenty of artists over the past several years have witnessed some promised cooperations that on the email or on some meetings that they had with those people seems like a good project of the future. they invested they were involved they used their energy, their creativity, days and months to create some collections, and they just ended up with nothing because those projects were not successful. Those projects failed because they had no real asset value on the market. So it's not just the value of your images, it's the value of the whole project. That's usually something that's the matter of question. So no matter how great your art is, if it's connected with not so great projects, especially if somebody used your artwork and skills, and it happens. Especially last year I had a possibility to witness something that seemed like cannot say fraud, but some unfair trading of there's a company that is buying artwork from artists, mainly photographers, and they use that photographies and they say, okay, we are selling it to our customers, you get some kind of royalties anytime, but if you use that photo which is originally yours, so you have to exclude it from your portfolio. And I saw the reaction of several artists who were actually very successful artists who have they were canceled because that image was already in their portfolio, that is present everywhere else. Okay, you can remove it from your social media, from your account, but whoever in the world has your portfolio that you have sent it via email and so on already has the copy, and it excludes you. They put it in terms of conditions of cooperation with artists in that way. Just make sure that you read contracts wisely, and that you don't get to that situation that they cancel or exclude cooperation with you just because of some of those reasons. It really happens many of the times with the companies that want to build their own portfolio out of nothing by taking your image, your value, and something that you created over the years. So it's a legally very tricky thing. It's not something that plenty of artists are so comfortable, and it's not easy for them to do so. So be really cautious when trying to create all those projects, all those invitations to work with companies and so on just talking about digital assets is either are actually trying to pick you up and trying to select the cooperation with you due to your lack of understanding digital assets. So it's not just the image that you will create, it's the value that they will provide with some kind of content that your NFT has. So all those items are stored on a blockchain. They are secure, decentralized, and have all the features of thanks to blockchain. But it's up to the company or the entity that's creating the NFT or creating the collection with all these features. It's up to them to decide what other values or data are storing in the original code that's showcased with your artwork. And that's the key thing. And the more you know about this, the less you will be among those who will be used for some scams or some just pointless collection creating that takes a lot of your time and energy.
Sorry, Anna.
Yes.
Just keep in mind that you have about 10 more minutes.
Yes, I think so.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have already covered the biggest, actually. I have covered the key parts. So one of the key parts is understanding crypto, understanding blockchain as such. Even I know that there are plenty of terms that are not so, especially if you're hearing it not for the first time, of course, but if you're not so comfortable with the technology as such, or if you're not so interested in all those codes, private keys, and so on. But just to get a picture that crypto is something that is completely different from money in monetary and financial terms. That's why it created so much fuss and so much media, gained so much media attention that the value of crypto nobody can predict. it's really specific that there are plenty of possibilities to use blockchain outside of cryptocurrencies, but those are the cryptocurrencies such as blockchain actually gave the, so to say, meaning to the blockchain of network that is not so that is not so how to say the blockchain as such is a technology that is way much older than the blockchain, but than Bitcoin and crypto. But actually, it's the Bitcoin that gave life to that technology. So just be cautious. Make sure that you always have some awareness of how you should store the data, how you should store your passwords and secure codes and those 12 words. Start, if you haven't started yet with any kind of wallet, start with MetaMask. MetaMask, it's very user-friendly. It's very easy to start dealing with, and buy at least some significantly small amount of crypto just to test it if you haven't so far, and start creating your artwork with some kind of story, with some kind of feeling, because nobody is willing to buy something that they can download from just the right click and save from the internet. Of course, there are plenty of possibilities with your crypto artwork, and during this course you will have a lot of possibilities to see from my colleagues, to see how it can be used. My part was I promise this is the most boring part of this presentation, because it's too technical. There are too many terms, and just if you're maybe a bit tired after all this story, because I know that there are plenty of new terms and something that you're not every day hearing about. I know that the rest will be more creative, more funny, knowing the lecturers. I expect that you will have fun and enjoy the rest of this course. So thank you for your attention. I can also answer all your questions. I see that some of them are, sorry, I'm switching because I have shared the presentation from the phone. So I will just check to answer everything. And if I don't answer some of the questions today, I will make sure with the organizers that you will get all the information that you would like by the end of this course or during this course, because this technical part is important from this perspective. So
oh yes,
Anna,
sorry. Also,
yes.
We will put all the questions that people write in the chat.
Okay, please, because I cannot see them due to this screen switch.
Yeah, okay, I'm just saying that we're gonna double post the questions in our Q&A Telegram channel. Okay, perfect. So I will respond promptly. So thank you so much, and thank you for your interest to keep the conversation going, and thank you for your attention. And I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the course, and that will be useful for your artwork. Maybe the market is not so welcoming new NFT projects like it used to 3 years ago, but who knows? Maybe some next big thing is about to come, and be prepared for these small steps. Thank you so much, and have a good course and the rest of it, and get something good for you. Thank you, Anna, so much. I suggest we have a 10-minute break. Okay. And we can be back, let's say at 7, but if you want to, you can answer the questions that you got in the chat right now. So I don't know if you can see the question. Now I will try to check, because it's on the other. Just a second, I will try to stop sharing the presentation if I have it. Just a second. Okay. Okay, I will check the. Do you see the question? Because I cannot. Oh, there's a 33. I saw this. Sorry, I thought it's like kind of okay. I see many thank yous here. Do you my cursor is flying over the screen. So scarcity of ownership is clear. How do we address the scarcity of usage? It's true that okay, it would be better if we have only 10 minutes and you want to use your break.
I will write down all this in Telegram group. So I kindly ask you please to copy all the questions because I really don't want to miss anything. I see that there are several questions here, and I will answer. I will answer promptly to the Telegram group.
Yes, don't worry. I'm gonna post them now.
Yes, because we will lose these 10 minutes that they have before the next presentation, and it's time for a break because you have 3 more hours, I guess, of course. So thank you so much, and I'm waiting for the questions.
Okay. Thank you, Anna, so much. I'm sure some of you saw what Magda wrote in the Telegram group. It is a bit much at first, especially it's a 3-hour course on the basics of blockchain and crypto. It's a lot to take in, especially if this is the first time that you're encountering these terms and concepts. But trust me, it was the same for me at first, and then once you start getting those words into your vocabulary, it starts to make sense, and it's quite a nice, beautiful story. So yeah, let's have a 10-minute break, and then we'll be back with Nick's presentation.